All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk with Maggie and Lucy, where we believe the older women should teach the young, just like the late, great Kevin Samuel said. So today we are going to react to another video Lucy has provided. I got a little different format I want to do. We'll test it out and see what you all think. But Lucy, greet everyone and let us know what are we reacting to today.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but I'm getting like delayed feedback from your side, Maggie. So I don't know if it's my setup or if everyone is seeing the same thing that I am seeing. I'm not sure because I may have to just restart and come back in if it's that's my case. It's on my
Okay,
side.
everybody, let me know if you all are able to hear and see us in real time. I know we just finished a Zoom and I had a lot going on the screen. Okay, Killa says both of us are loud and clear, so
Okay.
hopefully,
It's
okay,
probably me.
okay. So we're gonna get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. But Lucy, if you're able to hear, would you let us know what video you picked for this week?
Yes, this is from Ask an Old Man, and he's talking about being careful about the folks that you get a relationship advice from. So it goes back to the consider the source thing that Maggie usually says, and it's going to be an interesting one.
Absolutely. So thank you, Killis, on YouTube, and thank you, Margie, on Instagram, says that we are loud and clear and good to go. Okay, so usually what we do here, you all, is we react to the videos and we're going to play and pause it and interject. This video is a little bit of a longer one. It is 40 minutes. So what I did is I went ahead and watched it and I made some clips of the video so we can play the clips and then react to the clips. I'm sure Lucy will be right back. Plus, he had some slides in his presentation. So I grabbed the slides and we're going to talk about it. So let me give you all your disclaimers while we're struggle streaming here. So, a couple of things, like I said, if you want to watch the video in its entirety without our feedback, I always link it in the description. And like Lucy said, this one is from Ask an Older Gentleman. Now, Ask an Older Gentleman usually makes content for younger men. So he is an older man talking to younger men, like we are older women who like to talk to younger women. But I always think we can learn from anywhere. So I'm going to take what he said as far as feedback for younger men, and we're going to apply it. All right. So Gillis says the notifications are a little bit slow, but I'm glad you guys are hearing and seeing us. So again, thank you to Ask an Older Gentleman, as always, for allowing us to react to your content. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Is it better for you, Lucy, this time, or still kind of?
It's still, I had to
Okay.
change my laptop that I'm using. I think these two laptops are going, they're too old. So I may have to, I don't know, I may have to do something different next time. So it's good to know. I mean, things
Hey,
get
we
older.
exactly. We struggle stream, but if you all are able to hear and see us, that's what we're going to do. So, your two disclaimers, the video is linked in the description. Thank you, Ask an Older Gentleman, for allowing us to react. And then, number two, Lucy and I are here for the young women that want to prioritize marriage and family in their prime. If you want to do something else, that's totally fine. You're just not going to be happy over here. We believe in promoting marriage and family, so that is who we are talking to. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And like I said, I went ahead and clipped part of the video because this one is 40 minutes long. So let me share. And let's see how this works. I have my clips here. All right, so let's kick it off. Oh no. Oh, good.
From on the internet with regards to relationships. Let me repeat that. Relationships. Today I want to talk to you guys about who you should take advice from on the internet with regards to relationships. Let me repeat that. Relationships.
Okay, so that's the first clip, and then we're going to get into it. Now, the title of this video is The Dark Side of Dating Advice. Beware of online relationship coaches. Now, if you watch the video in its entirety, Ask an Older Gentleman is talking about a well known figure who has started her own podcast, which you are free to do. This is a free country. You can do whatever you want to. But like has been said, opinions are like body parts and everybody has one. But ladies, he made the distinction between listening to someone for relationship advice versus listening to someone, a lot of these online dating coaches. So the first thing I want to say is this. I have always said that the purpose of dating, actually the proper term is courting, is to determine, is this a suitable match for marriage or for long term? Unfortunately, this hookup culture and the modern world that we live in, where I have heard people say, we don't want to label it. We're just figuring it out. Let's just see where this goes. All of these vague kind of descriptions about spending time together and being intimate together and doing things that people do, which again, you are well in your right. This is how the years go by and you look up and you have nothing to show for it. So we are going to talk about listening to who you should or should not listen to when it comes to relationships, if that's what you want. If you want to be spoken for and get out of the dating market, if you just want to have a rotation, if you just want to have fun, if you just want to really not be accountable to anybody and do your own thing, this does not apply. All right. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree, and I understand that there's a certain set of younger people who say, "Oh, you're too old. You don't know what the modern dating scene is like." But I think that the basic values still apply even in the modern world. So if you're looking for a steady relationship, dating should be going out with a person that you could see as a future possible husband or somebody that would have your uh, undivided time. Otherwise, maybe this is not the venue for you.
Absolutely. And we are not saying that makes you a bad person. I'm just saying you need to go into everything in life with intention. What am I doing and why am I doing it? All right. So that was the groundwork. Even though the title is about dating coaches, unfortunately, I found a lot of women that took advice from other women that had no relationship to speak of. And it's kind of the blind leading the blind. All right. So we're going to go into the second clip. I'm going to listen to what Ask an Older Gentleman has to say, and then we are going to break apart. He has 3 types of women that you should not listen to, and 2 types of women that you should listen to when it comes to relationship advice. As always, we'd love to hear what you all have to say in the chat. So go ahead and give us your comments and we'll bring them on screen. All right, so let's go back into the next clip.
Or that I stick with this list because I had to think about it a bit, so I had to write it down. If you notice that all of my videos, I don't have notes, right? This is just me, just it's coming out of my head. But if I have something that I have to list out, and especially if it comes in a specific order, then I want to basically make sure that I can do this taping in one take and not have to repeat myself. So it's easier for me to keep a list. So the first and foremost, I'm going to tell you, gentlemen and ladies, do not take relationship advice from women, but with some caveats, okay? So let's cover the worst people you should take advice from, period. Single young girls. Notice I didn't say women, young girls. A lot of them out there on TikTok just spouting little short pieces of rapid fire advice, and they've been relationship coaches for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, and they're 23 years old.
All right, so let's unpack this, you all. And I'm going to actually bring this up on the screen because I took some screenshots of what he shared. So let's go over to, let me bring that up so you all can see. Oh, okay, here we are. Am I sharing my, where's my share my screen? Okay, here it is. All right, took me a minute, but we got it. So he calls it single young girls. Now, before you all get offended, for those of us who are of a certain age, sometimes we call young people girls or boys. Now, once you're 18, you are a full adult, and that's what we're talking about here. But what he says is, and I would love to know what you all think. Single young girls, those with no life experience. And he said the reason why is because their advice usually is based on fun, getting attention, and being intimate. All right, so let's go back into this. Now, let me see here. On my screen. The reason why, I have two reasons why. Now I'm having some technical difficulties, but I'll refresh and come back when Lucy's speaking. So I'm just going to continue on. Ladies, when you are in your 20s, like you've heard me say before, if you want marriage and family, those are your prime years. And those are the years that you should be creating the future that you're going to want when you are our age. All right. Now, if you are on the receiving end of that, like he said, these are the people that don't have any life experience to speak of. And I've had this conversation with some young women that I coach. When you are in the building years, one, I told her, your job is to study your husband, anticipate his needs, and make sure you build that foundation for what you're going to want. Anything that's a distraction from that is going to hurt your relationship. So ladies, it's no accident that Lucy and I, as mature women, we have lived our life. We have our routines, our home lives, our love lives, our careers, our family. We have all of that in place. Now we are at a position where we can give back at times if we choose to. So for the women that are thinking, oh, people need to hear my opinion. Oh, I need to change the world. I need to go out there. I have a voice on this. You will always have that voice. And just like I told that young woman, you're always going to feel passionate about whatever that thing is that you think is, the world needs to hear. I'm not shutting you down, but I'm saying what you don't want to do is deprioritize marriage and family because you've got a political belief, a religious belief, relationship belief, whatever it is. This is the problem that you see with a lot of modern women, boss babe women, activist women, whatever. You give your best years to someone else's agenda, whether it's building their bottom line or, going out and saving the world or the whales or whatever it is. All of those things are noble if it's important to you. My advice would be focus on the main thing first. Then once you get your life in order, you can do those things. So that would be to the person giving the advice. Ladies, if you are on the receiving end of a 23-year-old life coach, and I have seen it, it really is the blind leading the blind by no fault of their own. I remember, you all know I don't feel like I have a place to talk to men, but I remember when the roommates, one of the young men got married, and within not even the first year of marriage, he was out here giving marriage advice, and he got, pretty reamed for it because you're brand new. And that's okay. Everything in its due season. Get some time, some lived experience. And what I tell women is don't listen to anybody who hasn't done what you want. If you want financial advice, don't take it from somebody who can't manage their money. If you want health and fitness advice, don't take it from someone who's out of shape. And if you want relationship advice, please don't take it from anyone who's never had a relationship. All right, what would you add, Lucy?
And unfortunately, in this modern world, um, younger women are taking advice from other younger women that look the part, that are pretty, that from the outside everything is perfect, but unfortunately they don't have that experience to be able to say no. Dating two or three men at the same time is going to be detrimental to your, to yourself. Again, I see many young women talking about a roster of possible dating people that they would have, whereas as older women, we know the kind of damage that that could have, if, especially on the emotional and psychological level. So again, they are learning modern ways in the modern world that ultimately will damage you in the end. And unfortunately, those are things that they have learned by being out there with other young women that think the same. And those are the young women that are going to be in their mid 30s and 40s saying, why didn't I listen to the older women that were advising me otherwise?
All right, I want to see what you all are saying in the chat, but Lucy brings up a really good point. And ladies, let's give credit where credit is due. If a woman is beautiful, acknowledge her beauty, but don't overlay that beauty with relationship success or professional success or financial success. You can be a stunning knockout and be horrible with men at the same time. Okay, so young women especially, if you're, and I always say I'm happily average, but don't let the woman who all of the men's head turn when she comes in the room, but perpetually is single. You have to ask yourself, why can't she keep a man if that's what you want? All right, so let's see what you all are saying in the chat. First, I want to say thank you so much to Suave D for the $5. We appreciate it. Even when we struggle stream, you come through and support. He says, great to see you, ladies. Great to see you, too. Thank you all so much. Lucy and I are here from time to time, and we're grateful that this is helpful. All right, so let's go through and see who we have in the chat. So we have the condemned here. Afternoon to you. Thank you so much for being here. Lindbergh is with us. So good to see you, Mr. Lindbergh. He says, as a younger man, I listened to an elder male family member. I assessed his situation by an information he passed to me. I thought 2 ex-wives and a third ex-wife. This is true. So what he's saying here is, ladies, you've heard me say it, and Lucy started off the stream with this. Consider the source. Just like we told the women in the finishing school right before this, we have to slow down and observe. This modern world has us moving so fast that it just goes in one ear and out the other. But if you have somebody talking to you that's been married and divorced 3 times, there may be some conditions where you can glean some things maybe about what not to do, especially if they're open about that. We're going to talk about that. But for me, I always ask myself, would I trade places with this person? Do I want the life that they have? So if they're talking to me about X topic, I look at how it's showing up in their life. And if the answer is no, I just thank them graciously and find someone else I can actually listen and learn from. We got Gillis in the house. She says, well, these girls are faster than some of us. In my 40s, I haven't done as much as some of these 20-year-olds. It is really disturbing what's happening out here. You all have seen it. You all know some of these women are making a sport out of it. They're making challenges out of what they can do. And the damage they're doing to me, it's just unspeakable, but you can do whatever you want to. That's why we are here for the women who choose marriage, family, and relationships. Gillis says, that's right, Maggie. Those years we will never get back. We should maximize. So yes, ladies, you're going to get our age one day. You too will be 40 50 and 60. And those of us who are, we remember our younger selves. All right. So use your time wisely. So, yes, thank you all for the support. Condemn says, personally, I'll listen to what everyone has to say. Now, when it comes to taking anyone's advice and adhering to it, only after I've considered and assessed it as reasonable, beneficial, or experienced. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. We got Natalie here. She says, women in relationships, it's better to get advice from, especially looking out for red flags. Oh, thank you so much, Bernard, coming through saying these are the two classiest ladies on YouTube. I talk to my wife about them all the time, and she understands because she is old school like these ladies. We appreciate that is a compliment. All right, so we've covered the first one. Ladies, like he said, the ones that you do not want to listen to are single, young girls with no life experience. Okay, so be careful taking advice from a 20-year-old life coach. All right, so we're going to go back in and listen to the second person he has on his list.
Are women in their 30s. Usually these women are bitter. They've been through a lot of heartbreaks from the Chads and the Tyroons and the bad boys that they have been drilled out and passed by during their young years. They've made really bad choices in their early years. And now these are bitter women in their 30s who are trying to tell men how bad they are. And we never. Right? So the second woman that we should not take advice from are.
All right, y'all, that's a lot. Let's go ahead and unpack this one because I know, man, the way men speak, they tell it like it is. Now, remember, ask an older gentleman is an older man talking to younger men. Lucy and I are older women trying to gently encourage younger women, but it's true. All right, so let's take a look at who he says not listen to. I'm going to pull it up on the screen and then we're going to unpack this one. And I want to know you all's thoughts. All right. So we talked about the first group, single young girls. He said 30-plus-year-old women. Why? They've made too many mistakes. Now they're desperate and bitter. So I want to unpack this one. Now, of course, not all. But if we pick up where we left off, ladies, like I said, if you want marriage and family, your prime years are in your 20s. My cutoff is 28. The reason why I say 28 is because if you met the man of your dreams tomorrow, it's a year of dating and then another year of engagement if everything goes perfect. And we know nothing goes perfect. So choose wisely if you want marriage and family. Is it impossible for you? No. Is it a lot harder? Yes. All right. So when a woman gets to her 30s and she has not achieved the relationship success that she wants, for me, my eyebrows start going up. Here's why. Now, Lucy and I were both married in our early to middle 20s because it was a priority for us. When a woman allows herself to get into her 30s, are you old? No. Are you old for marriage? Maybe. It depends. Are you in your prime? Not anymore. Here's why. Here's how I look at it, ladies. Once you get to 30, and the reason why my cutoff is 28 is because you have had a full decade. You have been an adult for 10 plus years now. What do you have to show for it? Now, look, if you decide to go the professional path and now you're some big, judge sitting on the bench or you're saving the animals in the Congo or whatever, that's what you chose. But the emphasis is that's what you chose. And this is something that I had to learn from Mr. President because I used to try and plead the case of different women. But no, she says she really wants to be a wife. And he would flat out tell me, no, she doesn't. I'm like, come on, how can you say that? His words to me, nothing about her says wife. Nothing that she's done says wife. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So ladies, we have to accept that as the years go by, like he says, you do what you want to do. Meaning Every day you have an opportunity to choose what is a priority to you. So that means when you get into your 30s, it's going to be a much harder sell to a man that prioritizes marriage and family, that, oh, yeah, I want to be a wife too. Usually, what it means is, okay, I kind of wasted a decade partying or doing whatever I wanted to do. Now I'm here and the clock is ticking. And like he said, I'm kind of desperate. And the worst part, the bitterness and resentment, because you're still close enough to your 20s to see your competition now, because every year there's more competition for all of us. And if you don't want to think about that, think about you at your 20s. Which one was a better choice for marriage and family? So that's what he said. Women who are in their 30s that are bitter and desperate, usually it's anger that's covering up a decade that they've wasted. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and unfortunately, at that age, women become much more jaded because they start meeting guy after guy after guy. And it reminds me of that one analogy about the husband store, where the woman goes to the first floor and they say, "Are you good with this one?" And she said, "No, let me go to the second one. Maybe I'll choose something better." Then she goes to the third floor, fourth floor, fifth floor, and on the seventh floor, when she thinks that she might have the right guy, then there's no way to go down or up. You stay there. So it's it's that's when they start talking about settling and choosing the guy, because that's the best that they could choose. When they were under prime, they had the one guy that could have given them what they wanted, but they decided to go to different floors. And at that point, they have been to many other relationships, and that a jaded heart is there. And unfortunately, that bitterness shows whenever they meet that one next man that they think could be the possible husband. That man is going to say, "No, she's too broken for me. She needs to work on herself. What has she done in these 10 years that she could have been self-developing, that now she's at the end of of her sexual market value, and now she thinks that she's going to settle with me? No, next."
All right, so we have a comment here from Natalie. I love this. I want to unpack this one. So Natalie says, so settle for the guy that you meet? Excellent question. Let's talk about it. First thing, ladies, we have to understand and we have to humble ourselves to accept men are the ones that establish relationships. Unless you're one of these women buying rings, this doesn't apply to you. But one of the flaws that I see a lot of modern women make is we think it's going to happen on our time. I do whatever I want to do for as long as I want to do it. And now I'm ready, come choose me. Well, if that were the case, ladies, I would wake up and make myself Mrs. President tomorrow. But men are the ones who ask. Men are the ones who offer. The other thing I was thinking about, just with life, sometimes I kind of think about things and I'm like, when you talk to older people or you talk to people who have lived life, usually there is one great love, maybe two, if you're lucky and you have a do-over, like Lucy and I. But it is very rare that you get to our age and someone has 4, 5, 6 meaningful relationships, 3, 4, 5, multiple marriages. When that happens, your eyebrows go up like Lindbergh and you're like, you got 3 ex-wives. Like, what are we talking about here? So what can you do? Because I want to make sure we make the point, but this is helpful. Number one, I would say humble yourself and realize it's not up to you. Men ask, we can accept with grace or we can exit with grace. In our prime years, ladies, that is when we have the most leverage. A 25-year-old woman is going to be able to ask for and bargain for more than a 35-year-old woman. She just is. And if you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. All right. So as older women, what do? As an older woman, I understand that I'm not in my prime. I don't expect to have the world at my feet, I don't call it settling. I call it being realistic. My man sat me down on the second date and told me, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is my timeline. These are my expectations. And one of his requirements was, I don't want a blended family. I'm a divorcee with 2 children. So he put it on me. He said, it's up to you. You need to finish what you start, and then we can have our life. Now, I could have gotten all up in my high horse and said, no, you got to marry me. You got to do this and that. I actually said, you know what? I had a marriage. And if I couldn't keep that together, then I'm not entitled to get whatever I want whenever I want it. So I said, you know what? I love this man and I respect this man. And he was upfront and honest with me. So I chose to adjust my expectations, and I'm happier than I've ever been. So once you humble yourself and realize that we're not calling the shots in our later years, I think you have a much better opportunity for success. I don't call it settling. I call it being realistic. Or you can be by yourself. That's totally fine too. But if you're going to have your fist up in the air and you're saying, you know what, it's going to be my way or the highway, as we say in the South, keep on living. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. There are only two choices. You either choose to stay single for the rest of your life, or if you have a man that is very interested in you, uh, appreciate what he is promising you to give if you become part of his life, and you decide to become part of his life. Unfortunately, we women in the modern world have been given this idea that we are entitled for to the best, when in fact we are not even offering the best of us, because again, once you're in your mid 30s, the best you've given it in your 20s and your early 30s. So again, just like Maggie said, it's time to humble ourselves, a little, some, and then say, yeah, this is the man that wants to be with me. Do I want to be with him? Because again, you have two choices. I either choose not to be with him, or you move on, and you will be part of the statistics that by 2030, 50% of the young women between, I think it's 30 and 40, are going to be single.
All right, this is getting good. So again, come on in, everybody. Hopefully that was helpful. And Natalie, I really mean in love that hopefully that was helpful for you. So we're going to go on to the third group. We're reacting to Ask an Older Gentleman. He has 3 groups of women that we should not take relationship advice from, and 2 that we should. So we're up to number 3. All right, so let's go back in and share here. I made some clips. All right.
Between the Kendra G show. All right. Let's hear what Kendra G has to say. Actually, you know what? Let me do the last one, because this is a category that Kendra G falls in. So Kendra G, I think she's almost about to hit 50 and she's never been in a relationship. So this is the next category that we have to be careful of. The bitter woman in their 40s and 50s. So these are the women that have been through failed relationships. Often they're struggling financially, but if they have made it financially, they still think that they deserve that top man. They still think that that rich 50-year-old is hers.
If you want to know whether or not you should help them.
All right, so let's unpack this one. And thank you again. Thank you, Swavdi, for the $5. He says, God bless you. Being here is a blessing. And hopefully, I know it's helping, because we have a lot of women who watch us from the clouds. You all know who you are. All right, so I'm laughing, even though this isn't funny. Ask an Older Gentleman has basically covered everybody. Don't listen to women in their 20s. Don't listen to women in their 30s. Don't listen to women in their 40s and 50s. But honestly, if you listen to what he said, the red thread is, let me pull it up on the screen so you all can see. We'll go over here. So we talked about the 30-year-old women. The next group of women he says not to take relationship advice from are older women like me and Lucy, but those of us that are baby mamas, broke, we're out of time, desperate, and bitter. All right, so let's unpack this one. What does this mean, ladies? And again, one of the things I tell young women is listen to how older women in your circle talk about men in general and relationships in general. Okay. We're all going to get to this age. And as two divorcees who, struck lightning twice, Lucy and I could be part of those older women that's just like, just a matter of time before he breaks your heart too, right? All of us have had, our heart broken in some kind of way, but there's a way to land on your feet, learn from what you contributed to the failure of whatever happened before and get better and be hopeful for others just as much as you're hopeful for yourself. Or you can let that bitterness and that resentment fester, and now you got to spread your poison on everybody else because for whatever reason you didn't choose wisely, you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and now you've gotten to your older years, and unfortunately, if you had children out of wedlock, now you have that stigma and that label on you because you weren't part of an intact family. If you have been, and this happens to a lot of single women, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but being broke, ladies, the truth is we are consumers. My man sat me down one day last week and he said, you can take, a 50-year-old woman making 200,000 and a 50-year-old man making 200,000. That woman has nothing to show for it. And I was like, ugh, here we go. But is he wrong? We like the nice things. We're going to have to get the new car and the new shoes and the new bag, and we want to get the high rise and all of that. But part of the benefit of being with a man is men are disciplined and men are structured. And when you come under their covering, a man is going to check that spending. Now, you may say, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. Fine. Be by yourself. You don't have to listen to anybody. But a lot of times women get to our age and they haven't been fiscally responsible because can't nobody tell you anything. So a lot of older women are now struggling, trying to figure out how they're going to go into the second half and make ends meet. And it gives me no pleasure to say this because naturally as women, we slow down, our bodies break down. We are not built for the long haul. And I hate seeing women 40, 50, 60 plus still doing those 60-hour work weeks because if you don't do it, who's going to do it? Right. And so that breeds, a resentment because you're looking left and right. You want somebody to save you from yourself. The cavalry is not coming. All right. We're out of time at this point in this age. I mean, you can find a needle in a needle stack, but usually by this age, you should have met your person and gotten out of the dating market. It is really uncomfortable for me to see women my age trying to compete with younger women, squeezing our body parts into something to say, I can do it too. It is not attractive, ladies. Okay. So again, that's what he said. Not to take advice from these kind of women. So again, consider the source, look at their life before you listen to what they say. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, and unfortunately, in this modern world, it's, the relationship environment is very competitive. Those older women are probably not going to give you advice that will allow you to get into a relationship because, again, they are competing with a younger crowd. So they will not probably not lead you into a place that will benefit you because, again, they are thinking that they have a chance with the same men that the early 30-year-olds or 25-year-olds have, which is delusional, which is unreal. It's not going to happen, but they will still give you the wrong advice because they're in that competitive environment. And for men, they see all that baggage and they're more practical. They're not going to want to be with a 40-year-old 50-year-old woman that still has issues with a previous dad of their kids. They're going to be stepfathers to children from somebody else. So it becomes part of like the baggage thing. And if you hear many of these older women giving advice, it's not beneficial to the younger crowd. I have seen it. It gets tiring and it's sad because unfortunately they have a big following, and they are getting the wrong advice.
Absolutely. I saw a comment here and I stay away from any drama, but you all can read and understand for yourselves. And like I just said, consider the source. Doesn't make them a bad person, but is that who you should be taking relationship advice from? I always tell her myself, ask Lucy if she has ever asked me anything about how to care for the dogs or dog food or dog supplies or anything. I have no idea. Do not ask me. Y'all already know. But again, it's that self awareness and being honest with ourselves. There is a comment here that I wanted to respond to before we go into the next one. This one is from Jay. He says, unfortunately, most women don't know what they want from one day to the next. And it's funny, but it's not funny. Ladies, I'm going to say this. Lucy and I kicked off a new session at the finishing school. We talked about the difference between femininity and masculinity. And masculinity is structure. Femininity is very fluid. It can be a plus for us in relationships because it allows us empathy. We're able to nurture. We're able to care for people. But when it comes to long-term thinking, that is not our strength. Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. That is fine. But I remember when I reconnected with my man and someone that I grew up with, he sat me down. He had a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 20-year goal. I was just happy to be there. I had no idea about long-term thinking because we are emotional creatures and we feel in the moment. So it's really hard for us. I will speak about myself. Lucy knows this. I have a hard time making decisions. I can be very indecisive. Sometimes when I have a lot of options, a menu or whatever, I just shut down because it's just too much. So yes, unfortunately, ladies, if you deny our natural biology, you will find yourself just creeping up in years and you will be emotionally stunted because you do not carry yourself as a woman of your age. So I just wanted to share that, and hopefully that's helpful. We got Jurgen in the house. He says modern women of this age react like this because they're bitter, perhaps after their own bad decisions. No real man wants that. Ugh. Okay, so let's see how we can be helpful. Ladies, if you are an older woman, again, is it impossible? No. Is it harder? Yes. Here's what you can do. Like I told the other woman, accept that you're not settling, accept that this is the reality. You did what you did for 20 years. That ship has sailed. But here's the thing, the men that you are interested in, they're going to ask you about that. So if you're not ready to be honest about your part in whatever happened, it is not going to fly. If you get to this age and it was everybody else's fault but yours, or he was a narcissist and he was controlling, y'all have heard it before. If you're talking like that, just consider yourself forever single. At this age, men are going to expect you to be ready right now, hit the ground running. So if you do not know how to work with a man and be supportive and communicate and all the things that men expect, it doesn't matter how much work you have done, you're not going to be useful to the type of man that you want, especially at this age. Their tolerance level is nil and they want peace. So if you haven't developed that, you're going to constantly find yourself starting over because you really never perfected those relationship skills. All right, let's go back in and see. I think that was the third one that he said not to listen to. 20s with no experience, 30s because they've wasted a decade, 40s and 50s because unfortunately they may be bitter. So we're going to go into the two women, the two types of women that ask an older gentleman says, who can you take advice from? So all is not lost, but let's see. Would you add anything, Lucy?
It's so my computer is acting out. I couldn't find my little unmute button. No, I think that he those three sets of relationship advice, folks. I think I agree. Unfortunately, they are they are people that can be very well spoken, that can wrap you up in all of these communication words, eloquent and everything, to unfortunately tell you something that is not going to work out in the end.
All right. So Killa says, who is left? He says, don't listen to the 20-year-olds. Don't listen to the 30-year-olds. Don't listen to the 40-year-olds. Who is left to listen to? All right. Let's go back in and see what he has to say. All right.
Don't take advice from 40 to 50-year-old women who have never had relationships. They're bitter as ras. So these are the women that I think you should actually take advice. And you got to be careful, okay? These are women who have repented. These are usually women in their 30s. Some women wake up in their 30s and realize, holy shit, I did not do my 20s well when it came to relationship. I focused on my job. I didn't focus on holding down a man. I just focused on education. And I never made a man a priority. And now I'm in my 30s. And so these are the women out there saying, listen, girls, I screwed up. Don't do what I did. Please don't do what I did. Because I'm in a sorrowful position right now where I would love to have a good man with me right now. And listen, these women will eventually get a good man.
Why do men stay?
I love this. All hope is not lost, ladies. All right, so let's unpack this one. Who can you take advice from according to Ask an Older Man? So I know it went by quickly. I made some clips. So he says these are women that are 30 plus who have woken up and seen the light. There's two categories. This is the first one. Whether you believe in the red pill or not, this just means she has a sense of self-reflection and she actually wants to help others. And I love that. So here's the thing, 30 plus, again, the women in their 20s, they need to be focused on building the life that they're going to want at this age. Once a woman gets to 30, now again, my premise was marriage and family is important to you. If you want to be forever single, none of this applies. But a woman, and I have seen this, and I think it's actually very beautiful and humbling when you find a woman who can honestly say, you know what? My hot girl summer turned into a hot girl decade. I really wasted a lot of time because it's a lot harder for me now. We have women in our finishing school who say, you know what? I got a lot of attention when I was young and I didn't take advantage of it. And here's the thing, ladies, not only is that, I think, a beautiful spirit to see in a woman, this accountability is highly attractive to men because men don't want to have to tell you about yourself. They want you to be self-aware and able to read the room enough to realize, you know what? I have to pass the torch. And you saw, he said, these are the women that are ready and willing and wanting to help others. Now, are you obligated to? No, absolutely. You can live your own life and sail into the sunset. But I think it is normal and natural as we age to want to leave a legacy, to want to be remembered for good things, whatever that is for you. Lucy and I have this space. You can do whatever you want. But when you were in your 30s, like I said, you now have 10 to 15 years of being an adult, being responsible for yourself. And if for whatever reason you did not take relationships seriously when you had the leverage and that ship has sailed, and you acknowledge that and you help warn other women, don't do what I did. I always use myself as an example. I wish I had managed my weight better when I was younger. It gets harder as you age. It just does for everybody. So for me, you know, you all know my cooking stuff, you know, used to be pre-diabetic, elevated cholesterol, all that stuff. I really have to be mindful where I could just be enjoying things now, but I didn't think water was wet and things caught up with me, right? So can you acknowledge that as a 30 plus year old woman and be helpful to others? That's a woman you can listen to. What would you add, Lucy?
Yes, I think that is the perfect group of women that will tell you, don't do what I did because that's why I'm at this stage. That's why I'm here, and will give you actual examples of the things that they could have done better. So I do agree with that. 30-year-old women that are willing to accept their mistakes, be accountable, and take accountability, take responsibility for what didn't work for them, and share the knowledge with the younger generation.
Absolutely. The Condemned says it's always a good thing when women who made mistakes teach younger women not to follow in their footsteps. That's how it's been for hundreds and thousands of years. That is why Kevin Samuel said, "We're the older women to teach the young." It's not about be like me and be perfect. It's about, hey, come over here. Don't do what I did. I see you talking back to your husband. Do not disrespect him. This is not going to go over well. These are the things that you remember. You're like, ooh, okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. All right. So that was one. We're going to go to the last one. Jürgen says he's realistic. I'm glad y'all are liking this. So the last clip, he had 3 women not to take advice from and 2 that you can listen to. So let's go to the last one and we will wrap this up. All right. Let me go to my clip.
Don't have that skill. They've not seen it. Next to that is married women with 15, 20 years of marriage. This is the type of woman that you got to freaking listen to. So she understands the art of relationships and marriage. She knows what commitment is, she knows what motherhood is, and she knows what partnership is. Often, these women are guided by religion or traditional values, but not always. But usually this is the glue that keeps them in place in a long-term relationship. Hopefully she don't reach that 55, 60-year-old where she feels that now she's had enough of this man and she's not going to compromise, and she's on these group with the divorced older women who are living their best life on their divorce money. And hopefully she don't get pulled into that trap, not realizing that divorce money ends very quickly. And then all of a sudden she's left out in the cold, broke as shit, like a lot of them. So the men that you should...
Oh, we love asking older men. He just says it, as they say, like it TI is. Okay, so if that one went by really quickly, let's go over here. I grabbed the screenshot so we can all learn together. The last group of women that you can listen to, according to Asking Older Gentlemen, is a married woman with 15 to 20 years of experience. And for me, this is important, ladies. I know once you get the ring and you're like, I'm married now, we all celebrate you. But believe me, young ladies especially, the work is just beginning. You know, I've heard others say, like, unless you've been married 7+ years, like, you don't really know what it's like. You know, when you have decades of working with a man, and the good times and the bad times and the lean times and the surplus times and the compromise, and sometimes it's a no and sometimes it's a not right now and sometimes it's a yes, and all of those things. Those are the women who can actually teach you something. Like I always say, consider the source. So not just a woman who got the ring, we're happy, but has she been in the game for at least a decade and a half, right? 15 to 20 years experience, because she has a real understanding of what it takes to be in a relationship. Again, we started this by saying this is not about dating advice. If you want to have a new boyfriend every year, none of this applies to you. But if you want that real long-standing relationship where you are each other's rock, that takes work. All right. So those are the type of women that can speak to that. And he said also women that, you know, whether she's a mother or not a mother, I love that he says here, she knows how to be a mother. And what does that mean, ladies? Like we just said in the finishing school, I think one of the biggest problems with modern women is the ego and the it's all about me. I'm a 10. I'm perfect. I woke up like this. You got a team of people to make you up from head to toe and you look great, but are you useful? Do you care for anybody? Do you read the room? Do you see there's an elderly person in his family that needs assistance? Do you see the young mother, the young niece or nephew that you could distract so mom could actually get something done? Being a mother to me is about, do you have the heart of being a mother figure, selfless? Are you trying to nurture and grow anybody else? Or is it all about you? I got my plate, you can go make yours. Or do you make sure, you know what, even if I have to eat a little bit less, Johnny is on growth spurt, so let's make sure that the boys get something to eat. That's what it means to me. These are the women that you can listen to that have experience and demonstrated they have what it takes. What would you say to close us out, Lucy?
I agree. The years of experience have a lot to do on the kind of advice that we can give to younger women. Again, my first marriage was 11 years together. My second marriage, we're on our 19th year, married, and that adds up. Unfortunately, it hurts me to see where he says knows how to be a mother, because my first marriage broke up because I wasn't able to give him a child. But I do see my sisters and Maggie um, way on being mothers to their children, and I think that that's one of my weaknesses, because once you have children, I think that you learn how to be a little more careful about how you say things, where I can be very direct still to this point. It's very hard for me to not tell it like it is, even if it hurts people's feelings, because I want to get to the point. And I know that if you have children, you have to use a very different strategy to tell them that they're doing things wrong. But I do see that there is a very important factor on being together with someone for that long, because you learn how to be with that person in the good, the bad, the ugly, and like I said, on the uneventful. Most of your life together is going to be pretty boring, and this is what these younger women think, that life is always going to be happy. It's just going to be, a life of doing the same thing every day, and that's where we as women learn how to appreciate that balanced life that our husband has created for us. And unfortunately, in this modern world, young women are being told that life is about happiness and always doing things and getting things done, and and not being told that a marriage is pretty stable. Usually there are ups and downs, but for the most part, life goes on every day, very monotonous. And that's what you need to understand, that a life together with somebody else is going to be very calm. And that's what the men want. They want peace, they want calmness, and they want that woman that can provide that steady work while they're out there, slaying the dragons, coming back to that peaceful life.
Well, let me just go on record by saying I think Lucy is more of a mother than some women out here who have birthed children. But thank you for sharing that, Lucy. And I really appreciate you being, vulnerable about that. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here to tell, what we've done well at, and, the areas that we still struggle at too. But, one of the things I love about Lucy is the giving spirit, that even if it doesn't work out for you, like, I would love to have been remarried. We're going on 15 years now. Alex is a senior in high school, so I was told 2027 is my year. So let's do this. But I am so happy when, especially our students, but any young woman gets married and chooses marriage and family, right? Lucy is so happy for others who are growing their families. I've seen her with my mom. When we bring Nana out to events, Lucy is like mother hen, making sure Nana has everything she doesn't have to want for anything. That's what I'm talking about, ladies. Do you read the room? Do you care? Do you show care for anybody? Or is it just all about you? Because believe me, the men are watching, and they're going to make a decision if that is what they want for the rest of their lives. Oh my gosh. Thank you all so much, Swavdi. Thank you for the $10. Thank you again for the $5. So generous. That's what we had today, you all. This one was a little bit different. I clipped the episode because it's over 40 minutes, and I wanted to make sure we were able to cover it. What did you think of this format, Lucy? It was a little bit.
I love the format. I love how you got to the specific parts that were applicable to this presentation. I loved it.
Okay, good. We can always get better. So we will be back with you all. We're usually here on Saturdays. Just turn on your notifications. And yes, hopefully this was helpful. And until next time, we will say adios.
Adios.